Hello and welcome to Her Empire Builder Show. I am Tina Tower and today is an exciting day because if you are listening to this live, like just as it has dropped, the doors to Her Empire Builder are open. So it only happens a couple times a year. Her Empire Builder is the membership that I run for course creators who are wanting to go big without sacrificing lifestyle. So it is all about how to do your marketing, how to implement AI, how to hire a team, how to get your mindset right, how to control your money, all of the different things that you have inside of your business, in how to really get that engine humming really well so that you can optimize and maximize the profit and the impact that you have in that business. So if that is something that sounds exciting to you, just go to herempirebuilder.com and you can join us anytime in the next week. If you are listening to this a little bit late where doors have closed, you can just join the wait list and you'll be notified when we open the doors next. But I hope to see you on the inside. It is such a great community. It is such a privilege to be able to run with such incredible humans. And so I hope to see you on the inside. All right, let's get into today's episode, which is all about the CEO shift. So it's looking at that time in your business where what got you here won't get you there, and the different things that you need to employ mindset-wise as well as strategy-wise to know that if you want to go to that next level, these are the things that you're going to have to change. These are the things that you're going to have to do. So this episode is for you if you have already built something amazing. So you know you've got proof of concept, you know that you are there, but you feel like you've kind of hit a ceiling. You're at your edge where you're like, you know, I've done the thing, I've built it, love it, getting great results for clients, but how do I go to that next level? How do I get past that edge? And this happens to all of us in business. For me, I had some really distinctive points where it was like, I'm at the edge of what got me here won't get me there. And the first one of them happened when I got to 300,000 a year. That was a real edge where I was like, okay, essentially I have to start getting some help. I'm a fabulous woman, but I am but one woman. So it's I'm at the edge there. The next one happened at about 1 million. And then it happened at 2 million, where that was the point for me where I was like, all right, I know what got me here won't get me there. Do I want to do? Because at each of the shifts, you really have to work out with the things that you know you need to do to get to the next level, are they things that you want to do? Is that going to bring you joy? And there's a certain point that I find for business owners where you kind of get to your sweet spot. You get to the spot where you're like, you know what? I love this balance in terms of lifestyle and in terms of effort and reward. And for me, that's between that 1 and 2 million a year mark is, it's great money. I get a great lifestyle. I work Monday through Thursday. I take the third week of every month off. I go away overseas for 2 to 3 months of the year. It's an incredible, balanced life that I have, I haven't always dreamed of. It's so far beyond what I always dreamed of. And the cost of that life to go to that next income level, what that would take in terms of risk and responsibility, is just a cost that it's too high for me to pay. I'm not prepared to pay that. And so I think that at different levels, you need to be able to make a conscious decision for that. But I wanted to get to that level. So the cost of getting from 300,000 to 1 million, I'm so glad I did that. Yes, it's more risk. Yes, it's more responsibility. Yes, it's more putting yourself out there when sometimes you just don't want to. But it's worth it. So for everyone, it's your own individual. So if you resonate with that, this episode is for you. So you want to get to the stage where it's like your hustle isn't enough anymore. I know some people poo-poo hustle and poo-poo effort. I do not. I think good luck getting somewhere without strategic effort and planning well and dreaming big and taking that massive action. Good luck building something. You need to get your hustle on. How do you think people get there? Even the people that I know that sit there and go, never hustle and hard work is somehow bad. They worked so hard to get there. I'm Stop that. It's making people feel bad unnecessarily. Because I'll talk to women all the time that go, I'm working so hard. Like, what am I missing? Am I doing something wrong? And I'm like, you're not doing anything wrong. People just aren't telling you the full truth. And so I do know that, you know, at every new level of business, we have to become that new version of ourselves and shift from where we were into that next level of thinking. So what got you here? Now, different things that will serve you definitely at the beginning is like, number one, grit. Having that grit about you to get something off the ground. So an analogy that I love, you can think of it with a rocket ship or you can think of it with an aeroplane. But if we take it as a rocket ship, so say the rocket ship is there and you're ready to launch. When you go to launch that rocket, it is firing up all those burners. It is using so much energy to just get off the ground. And then as it gets into the orbit, it has to drop the weight in order to really soar. And so there's so much more concentrated effort in the start from that ideation to launch stage, and like getting that, there's an article I love by Kevin Kelly called 1,000 True Fans. Getting those first 1,000 true fans, I think, is the hardest part, because it's requiring so much more effort and energy to get that first, like, to that tipping point than it is once you're up in orbit already. Once you are there, yeah, you have to keep the effort going. You have to keep that consistency so that you can build a sustainable and high growth business. But it's nowhere near as difficult or as unrewarding, because you're getting to serve more people. So you're getting that positive feedback to see that the work that you do matters and that you're impacting people the way you always dreamed of. You're also getting the financial rewards. Whereas in the beginning, like, you need so much grit, because you'll post your social media posts and, you know, you'll get 5 likes and you'll be like, oh my God, was that worth it? I put so much effort into that. You'll do a podcast interview and you won't hear from anybody. No one will say, atta girl, like, you won't know. So all of these things happen, and you need so much grit in order to withstand that, and the self-belief to get yourself up into that orbit stage. So you need a lot of speed, because I think that you need to get through that as quickly as possible. And so that takes a lot of gumption to be able to move fast, to not dwell too long in decisions. You know, you'll see people, or I'll see people sit for years in the decision making where they're like, I want to launch this, but is it perfect? Is it the right idea? Is it the right audience? Let me think about it a little bit longer. And they can be stuck in this, like, analysis paralysis sort of area. And so what I see as a common trait in people that go are people that go, people that go at speed. They're like, you know what, I may fail 20% of the time, but 80% of the time I'm going to hit it. And so I'm just going to go fast so that I can stumble and go and stumble and go, and I'll get there, rather than the people that are afraid of making a mistake or a wrong decision, so they don't move so fast. And that's really holding you back. The other thing that I see that gets people, like, off the ground really quickly is that scrappiness and doing all the things, like knowing how to do everything in the business. Like, you need to change something on your website, go on a YouTube tutorial, learn how to do it. You need to pitch, don't hire someone to pitch, go pitch yourself. Like, everything, you learn how to do it. You are the marketing designer, you are the bookkeeper, you are the salesperson, you are the admin person, you are all the things. You wear all the hats. That is what I see gets people off the ground the fastest and the easiest way. You can also, in the early days, have personal connection with every student, with every client that you have. You can build that really personal relationship with, because you've got the time, and you're probably there, like, you're feeling like you need to prove your worth. You feel like you need to prove yourself. And so when you're in that stage, it is, you know, you will over deliver constantly, which is not a bad thing, because it means that you can form that reputation, you can form those relationships. I mean, I know, like, the first 50 people that joined Her Empire Builder, I'm good friends with now, because I know them so well, and we've done business together for such a long time that even the people that are no longer members, I still talk to quite often, because we were there at the beginning and we formed such a tight connection. So that is there. The other thing that you will get is, like, hyper responsibility. responsiveness. In the early days, and I'm sure that if you are in that position now, you're like, oh my gosh, yes, where you feel like if someone sends you an email and asks a question, or if someone asks a question in your Facebook or community group, that you need to like over deliver and respond instantly. Like, don't leave anyone hanging. You've got to get in there right now. And you can become like a slave to that, where you just feel like you don't want to let anyone down, which is a great trait to have. But it's unsustainable once you scale. And so this is what I mean by what got you here won't get you there, is often when you get to your edge, if you're at the place where you're like, I feel like I can't break through this next level, then that's usually these things that I've just talked about are the bottleneck that will keep you where you are, and your success will start to feel really heavy. So like if I use my own personal example, this was where I was sitting when we were at about 300K, was I was there and I was like, gosh, if I get double the clients, I don't know if I can like do double the delivery. I don't know if I can do double the work. And so at that stage, it's really going, what got me here won't get me there. And these are the things that I need to, like the rocket ship, let go. I need to drop some weight. I need to be lighter. I need to be more agile so that we can grow and so that we can impact more people. And so what the CEO shift really means, and I do have, like a worksheet to help you with this. If you are on Instagram or Facebook, DM me the word shift and you will get like my CEO guide that I'll tell you about later. But I just want to tell you that now, just in case you don't listen to the end, you can still just DM me the word shift and you'll get that resource. But what the CEO shift really means is it's less about hiring and it's more about thinking differently. So a lot of people will think, well, I just need to hire more. I just need to outsource. And yes, that is often the case, that you do need more help, but sometimes I can see people overhire as well, especially now where AI can do so much. So sometimes it's going, can you put some time? And it's really hard when you're so busy to put time into these things. But if you want to excel, if you want to go past where you currently are, it's being able to leverage what you're doing. And so you're looking at how can you achieve more with less output so that you have more energy, and you're able to build a bigger business without necessarily having to up your output, without having to deplete yourself of more energy so that you're capable of higher results. So a lot of that is about thinking differently. And so that is going from, you know, shifting from that control to that trust, rather than like over delivering on everything because you feel like you need to control, you feel like you need to prove your worth. It's trusting that what you've done is enough and people are getting what they need, and they're getting enough from you, but also trusting the people that you employ. So when you've got your VA that's doing their things, not having to micromanage all of that, getting someone that you can trust so you can trust the process and not control everything. You want to go a little bit more from being in the weeds to holding the vision. The vision is what such a big part of your role is to always hold the vision for the future and make sure that the company is going in the direction that you want to choose to go. It's moving from that speed where you're like sprinting as fast as you can and you're like, I don't care if I fail, I'm going to fail and I'm going to recover and I'm going to go. And just like you're trying and experimenting with so many different things, which I do think is necessary because, you know, even when I teach people in Her Empire Builder and I'll be like, here are the stats. This is what we're looking for in terms of our webinar conversions. This is what we're looking for in our email conversions. This is the color of the button that converts the best. These are the language, the subject lines, all of that sort of thing that convert the best. So when I give those, they are great guides. They're great starting points for people to use, and we give variations that people can experiment with. And the reason that is because at the beginning, you won't know exactly what your audience is going to resonate with, and it will change from time to time as well. And so what you want to do at the beginning is go with great speed and experimenting with different things until you can find out what's going to work the best. And then once you're at that stage, that's then where you're going to go, you know what, I no longer have to run around like a chook without a head and go, I need to try this, I need to try that, I need to be with everything. You're going to move to sustainability. You're going to move to, all right, I know what works, so I'm going to calm my farm a little bit and I'm going to focus on doing less, but doing the things that really matter. And I'm going to drop the rest. You're also moving from reacting to intentionally leading. Now, what I mean by that is at the beginning, you're doing a lot of what you think you should do. So you're reacting to everything and everyone because that trust is not in yourself yet. You haven't got the runs on the board. So you'll always be second guessing yourself. You'll always be thinking that other person's got it sorted out more than I do. And so when you get to the stage where you're trusting yourself more, you care less about what you should do and look more at what is right for you. What is right for you and your individual goals, your goals for your family, the way you want to run your business. What changes do you need to make that sustainable for yourself? And when you really follow your intuition with that, that is when everything flows. When you resist that intuition, which can sometimes, following your intuition can be hard because often in business, it doesn't make any sense. You're like, no, but I should be going in this direction. And I know I have been in this situation many times where I am like, I want to go there, but I know on paper that's not the right decision. But if you continue to fight that, it will keep you stuck where you are. And so, stepping into that leadership, I think, isn't just about your team. It's not just about growth. It's about your evolution. It's about your time and your energy and the decisions that you make and really trusting yourself within that. My friend Denise Duffield-Thomas, she runs a program called Money Bootcamp. And she has this line in going, like, you're no longer the worker bee, you're the queen bee building the hive, and you need to kind of morph from the worker bee into that queen bee and take that energy with you as well. So what a true CEO focuses on, when you move through that first edge and you're like, you know what, I'm ready to go to that next level, you are looking at vision and direction. You're spending a lot of time on going, where do you want this rocket to land? You know, what you're going so fast and you're going so, like, you're putting so much effort into going there. Where are you actually going? And that is your decision and your decision alone. And I think your happiness will come from those two things being aligned. Like, I know I am happiest when my vision and my reality are aligned. I get really unhappy and really depleted of energy when I feel like my vision and my reality are misaligned. And so you really want to focus on where are you going in the next 3 years, and then how can you morph your business and your life so that you can line those two things up and so that they're copacetic together. The other thing that you want to look at is your offers and your audience. So I know that when people first, get to their first few $100,000, you are often experimenting with different offers. You're often experimenting with different audiences where you are like, you know what, I'll try to sell this to this person. Maybe I'll try to do this. Very rarely is someone in the situation where they don't have enough ideas. Usually it's the opposite, where people have too many ideas. And so you can kind of try this and try that, a little bit from column A, a little bit from column B. And so we want to kind of, at this stage, when you want to take that CEO shift, is looking at what do you want to be known for? How can you actually, instead of going wide, go a little bit more granular so that you can be known for the thing? And this is something that I think is going to be even more prevalent as AI develops, is because information is getting really cheap. And so what people are looking for is the guide, is the person who has walked the walk, who has the life experience, who has been where they're going to be, where they want to be, and can take them on that journey. And so for you, that means really communicating clearly in your messaging, this is what I'm really great at, this is what I'm all about, and this is what I can take you along for. And so that is looking at your messaging and your positioning and going like, are you leading or are you blending in with the crowd? And if you feel like you're blending in and your messaging's getting lost in the busyness and the noise that is on the internet, it's going, all right, well, how can you shed some things? How can you look at your offers and go, all right, this one's worked really well, these ones not so much. So instead of, pushing shit uphill, let's drop them. Let's just accelerate what's working really well and be known for that one thing. Knowing that you can always change direction in the future as well. I know a fear for people is, if I double down and really get known for that one thing, like, can I change? And I'll share my personal story with that. I have built and sold 4 different businesses throughout my 20 years in business. When I first started out, I had a retail toy store, I had a birthday party place and a tutoring center. And so I was known as like the toy shop lady. That was who I was from 20 to 24 years old. Then I went in and I started licensing the curriculum that I had written for tutors to run in their tutoring centers. I did that for another, so from 2008 to 2011 was when I did that. And then I changed into franchising. So when I started franchising, that took a whole other identity shift. I had to stop being like the teacher and start being a leader in the industry. And really, I was 27 when I did that, and it took a whole like self-perception change, as well as changing my reputation in the marketplace. Then I was known for running this tutoring franchise. I did a lot of media, I won a lot of awards in business, and I was very well known in the Australian business community for the franchise. And then when I sold that in 2011, so I was 33 at the time that I sold Begin Bright, then I had to find a new identity and I didn't know what I wanted to do next. And so it took me a little while to fall into courses. I was doing like high-level strategic coaching for women one-on-one. And then I loved the digital industry. And so then I had to really make my name in digital courses. Will I be doing digital courses forever? Absolutely not. I know that at some point in the future, when I'm no longer inspired by it, when I'm inspired by a new idea, I have no qualms with them pivoting and going, all right, I'm into the next chapter of my journey. And so I want you to know that as long as you are serving people really, really well, and you're always giving people more than what they have bargained for, you have the right to change direction at any time you choose. Sometimes it does take a while. I know when I decided to exit Begin Bright, it took me a couple years to be able to get that clear. So it's not always an overnight thing, or you can really shortchange yourself. But I want you to know that when you choose to be known for something, don't have the fear that it's going to lock you in forever, because you can change direction anytime that you choose. Also, what you're focusing on when you're making this shift is systems and team. So systems are like, I think, the most important thing in scaling your business. I've been able to scale multiple businesses to the level that I have with minimal team because of systems. So a lot of people that I know that run the same size business that I do have a lot more team involvement. They're also often working a lot higher hours. I do work hard. I do work a decent amount of time, but I never work at nights. I very rarely work on a weekend. I will, like when it's just before an event or when we're going into launch season, but it's rare. I have a very good balance in terms of my input and output. And a lot of that is because of systems. I have a mug that I drink out of that says lists are my love language. And it really is. Like, I don't know. I use monday.com for all my project management, which I'll link in the show notes for you. But for me, I actually worry that if Monday went down, I don't know how I would continue on. I think I'd have to go and spend like a week in bed, because I don't know what I should be doing, when I should be doing it. Like, my brain is in that system, and everything that I need to do in the business is all in that system. So it means that so much of my brain space is freed up to be able to deliver, to be able to connect with people, to be able to provide coaching. I don't ever have to think of what needs to be done daily, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, annually, what needs to be done when I book a new venue for an event, what needs to be done for all of my taxation and my finances, what needs to be done for like all of those different areas. It's all documented. I never have to think, gosh, have I missed anything? Or I never have to remember everything. Systems are it. So if you're in the stage now where you feel like you're overworked, the first thing I would look at is how organized are your systems. And I know that for some people, it comes more easily than others. I know some people are a mess when it comes to organization. We were having this conversation in her Empire Builder the other day of how many tabs are open on your computer at any one time. And some of the responses horrified me just as much as like the red number on your emails. Some people have like 1,000 in their inbox, which is stressful. So getting those systems in order will calm your nervous system. It'll also mean that you're able to do a whole lot more with a whole lot less. So systems is the first thing. And then once you've systemized everything, once you have optimized everything with as much AI and as much as technology in the background, as much automation that you can employ, that is then when you bring in the team. And now that we have so much technology and AI, you need a lot less team to do the same amount of output than you used to. And so you're looking at like what parts of the business can you get to run without you? What parts can you streamline? What parts don't you need to control anymore that you can systemize and hand off to someone that's very, very capable, that's able to do it? The other thing that you're focusing on is your personal energy. So because we're in the type of businesses that are running on personal brand, your energy is so incredibly important. If your energy is off or you're not inspired by what you're doing, it is going to have a financial flow-on effect. It is really hard to fake it. So it means that when you're running launches, you won't put in the effort that you normally would. You won't connect with people how you normally would. And when you're tired, that's going to show through. And so a big part of what you need to manage is how do you optimize your energy, because there's so many people relying on you. If you're the one supporting your family financially, if you go down, they go down. If you're supporting your clients, you go down, they go down. So much of it has to be, are you being the kind of leader that your business needs? And if not, how can you change some things to support that? How can you get that energy back? How can you make those decisions so that you can be more sustainable in the future? So what I want you to do is I want you to work out for what you're doing in your business now, work out what you do and work out what you don't do. For sometimes, like I'll encourage people to do a stop doing list is just as powerful as a to-do list, because there's a lot of things that you get in the habit of doing in your business in the beginning that we think are really important, but actually don't matter. That if you take them away, the impact of that will be very minimal. That we have to use our energy in the way that is going to be as leveraged as possible, that is going to bring in the most results possible. Now, I want to tell you some common traps that I see that keep course creators stuck. So like I said, we're launching her Empire Builder at the moment. So if you're feeling like this resonates, this is exactly what we work on, is how to get past that edge and how to get these systems in place, how to use more AI, how to use more automation, how to get your team, all of that sort of thing. So, all right, the common traps that keep people stuck is no one can do it as well as me, which comes straight from trust issues. And look, I am the first to actually say, I believe there's some things that no one can do as well as me. And I think that is true. Like, evidence would show me that that is true. But there is also things that I know other people can do just fine. And that has been a work in progress in letting those things go. So you want to identify the things that genuinely do need you to do them. So I think things like that is setting your vision, like your marketing messaging, all of the stuff that is more powerful coming from you and your essence and your soul, and then being able to let others take the reign on the rest. Another one that keeps people stuck is I don't have time to train someone. Hiring new staff and training is very time consuming. It is. It's very time consuming, but you're in like this chicken and the egg situation. Is if you're trying to do everything by yourself and you are short on time and energy, then you need to hire someone so that you can go to that next level. But then you look at hiring someone and you're like, oh my God, where am I going to get the time to train them? That is when you really do need to take the time. It's like that whole slow down to speed up. So it might take you that few months of like getting onto the back foot, but the future 2 to 3 years will thank you for that sacrifice. So I do think it's a real concern. Like I obviously work with people very closely every day, and they'll go like, I know I need to hire someone, but seriously, when am I going to train them? And it does take deliberate, intentional sacrifice at that time to go, all right, you've got to put, because the training that you put in at the start will dictate a whole lot of that performance going forward. Other one is over delivering out of guilt or fear. I am guilty of that. It has been something that's is still a work in progress to be able to overcome, but it will keep you lower than where you need to be if you feel like, out of guilt or out of fear that, you know, people are going to find you out, or that you're not worthy enough of what's happening. You'll get in that trap of over delivering again and again and again. The other one is equating being busy with being important. So I see a whole lot of people busy, doing a lot of busy work, always busy, but they're not getting the results. And that usually is because they're not doing the things that are important, because usually the things that are important are the things that are harder. So the things that are important, that actually move the needle, that actually make a difference, that actually make money, are the things that are outside of our comfort zones. It's usually the things like getting more vulnerable, putting yourself on camera, calling people, making sales offers, being more strategic with your social media, with your webinars, all of that sort of thing. And that is not as easy or as fun as dicking around on ChatGPT, finding more templates on Canva, all of those fun things that we can be really busy doing, refining our slides, all the things that don't matter as much as you actually connecting with people. And so I would be looking at a time audit. And I know whenever I suggest time auditing to people, they like roll their eyes and they hate me when they're doing it. But it is so insightful. You do a time audit for a couple of weeks, and every 15 minutes, set an alarm on your phone and just write down what you're doing. So I do it in a way, I write down what I'm doing, and then at the end of the column, I will put in, so I write down the thing I'm doing, the category it goes in, so whether it's like marketing, admin, whatever it is, and then a happy face, sad face, or straight face. So a happy face if I'm like enjoying it, I'm vibing right now, this is great work. Sad face if I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this, this sucks. I'll do a sad face, and then a straight face if I'm like, you know what, I could take it or leave it. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, I will add up everything that I did. I work out how much time I spent on marketing, how much time I spent on admin, how much time I spent on finances, how much time I spent on all the different areas of the business. And then I work out what things brought me joy and what things sucked my energy. And then what I try and do is go, the things that sucked my energy, can I cut them? Do I have to keep doing them? And if they do have to stay in the business, can I get help in doing them? And that way you're able to leverage your time a little bit more, and you're not being so busy because it's staring you in the face where all your time is going. So if you're looking at it and going, all right, all of these things here, like, do I have to do this? Is there a better way to spend my time? And you'll figure out some things that you can cut so that you've got more time and energy to go in the things that are going to make the biggest difference in your business. The other thing is confusing growth with scale. You don't want to grow too far if it's taking, like the example I used at the start, where if you've got a $300,000 business a year and you want to go to $600,000, if it's double the work, like you want to scale it in a way that's more leveraged and scalable. You don't want to have double the output for double the result. And sometimes that can be confused. And so we want to work out how we can do it, because just because you can do everything doesn't mean that you should. And that is a trap that many qualified and fabulous, competent entrepreneurs will fall into, and it will keep you under your edge. So how to make the shift now is, like I said, audit your current role. Figure out, like you're going to hire someone, like what's your job description? Where is it now and where do you want it to be? So inside of Her Empire Builder, we have what we call the job matrix, where we have every single task that is happening inside an online business. And people can go through and work out, all right, I'm the one doing this, but in the future, I don't want to be. And so then you can work out with each of those tasks that you don't want to do, how can you form a job description with that, and who do you need to hire or bring in to be able to do those roles. You can also delegate some things so that you're not so stuck in the weeds. You'll schedule CEO time. So what that means is taking like 2 hours at the start of every week to plan, to strategize, to dream, to organize everything, to be on top of all of the changes so that you can adapt really fast. You want to be like, one of the best advantages of being a small business is we can be so agile. We can adapt things so quickly that, you know, it's really hard for competitors to keep up when you can change and adapt as fast as you want to. And so I do have for you, like I mentioned earlier, a weekly CEO meeting guide that's like your whole guide to taking that helicopter view. It has an itemized like agenda that you can follow for every week to take that couple of hours of everything that you should be reviewing in your business, taking that helicopter view in order to have a really good like overview, big picture, so that you know how to make better informed decisions and you can have that more energy and that more leverageability in your business as well. How to make that shift. So we've got schedule CEO time, we've got delegate, we've got audit your role, we've got start documenting your systems, like give yourself the freedom, getting all those SOPs down, automating what can be automated so that you can free up more time and energy for yourself inside the business. And then the final one is protect your energy. Your energy is going to have such a ripple effect on everything else that you're doing. So think like if you want to run $1 million business, think of the $1 million you. If you were running this business and it was $1 million a year, what would you need to do for yourself in order to have adequate energy to be able to hold that space, to hold that size? And sometimes, like I'll talk to women about that and they'll go, that seems selfish to do that. So like a couple of the things that I do in my life that could be perceived as selfish is I'll go into the sauna by myself and I'll just sit there and take that time for myself to nurture. I'll watch mindless TV in the evening for hours. And I know that there's some people that are like, oh my gosh, why watch TV when you could be reading or learning or doing everything? But I know that sometimes I like mind-numbing, predictable, happy ending, beautiful TV to just sit there in my cuddle corner with my dogs and let my brain G down. And what that does is it allows me to like have that introvert time and soak that up and have that little bit of self-nurturing so that then I can come out and be the big personality that I need to be. And if I can't do that, then I don't have as much energy the next day to be able to come out and give everything that I need to give in order to sustain the business that I have. And so you really need to identify like what are those habits that you need to put in your life that are going to get you to where you want to go. So like I said, it is a strategic shift, but it's also a mindset shift. So it's both of those things combined with each other. And you didn't come this far to stay small. Like if you are building a business, you want that bigger life. You want that next level, and you have the potential and the power to take yourself as far as you want to go. The first step is defining that. What does that look like for you? And then employing everything in your business to execute that vision. And don't stop until you get there. And my friend, I guarantee you keep going, that consistency will pay off, and you will wake up one day and you'll go, oh my gosh, this is far beyond I ever dreamed of. And it is so worth it. Like I said, if you are wanting help with that, join us in Her Empire Builder. Go to herempirebuilder.com and I will see you on the inside. Have the best day.